And the irony behind it is Kyrie ends up opting in. So now all that bullshit's gone. Neither one of Kyrie or KD are going anywhere. So all that we did, all that Brian Scalabrine did was run his mouth on some bullshit that's not going to happen.
The news is here. According to our Adrian Wojnarowski, Kevin Durant's manager, Rich Kleiman, has told him that Kevin Durant has requested a trade.
When it comes to free agency, I would pretty much say that some of my favorites, again, you've heard me say many times, I think Pat Connaughton is a huge favorite to end up on the Boston Celtics. But another one I'd look out for is Patty Mills, who opted out of his contract with the Nets. I did see that, especially with Kyrie going back. I'm sure he's out. So clearly, your boy is batting 1,000 so far this free agency. On YouTube, how's everyone doing? Jags to Riches, James Peters, thank you all so much for your time. Day 2 of NBA free agency 2022. Very quiet on the Boston Celtics front. In fact, no major moves yet. A lot pretty much going on around the league. We've seen a lot of people re-sign, as you see in the beginning. I mean, a lot of the people I predicted simply re-signed. A lot of max contracts, and forgive me, periodically you might see me looking down. I'm just refreshing to see if anything happens with the Celtics. But again, Jokic, Devin Booker, Ja Morant, Karl Anthony Towns, I seen a bunch of supermax, obviously Bradley Beal, and then I seen like Simmons and Dort, Portland and OKC sign extensions as well. Lakers getting Lonnie Walker, PJ Tucker going to the 76ers, so plenty of movement going around. But this is why I try to include a major topic in these videos, because it's just one of those things that you never know. You know what I mean? Boston basically just got outbidded. Patty Mills, I think, signed a 2-year, $14.5 million to return to Brooklyn. It surprised me, obviously, because I thought Kyrie returning and just the drama he'd want to get out, but it kind of makes sense with Kyrie and KD, or with Kyrie potentially leaving now, and maybe there's something with him and Ben Simmons, from the Australian thing. I don't know, but anyways, as well as Pat Connaughton, I don't know if he signed an extension or if he simply just opted into the final year. I don't know. Someone clarify that for me, please. But either way, he's going back to Milwaukee. That makes sense. Obviously, that's a championship contender where he has, such a crucial, a role that has been established and that he, thrives in. And I mean, who probably doesn't love playing with Giannis and the amount of spacing and opportunities you get as a shooter? So again, missing out on him. Hopefully he just opted in and will be a free agent again next year. But still plenty of names to talk about. I've been hearing a lot of Bruce Brown, another hometown boy. There's plenty, there's even too many to name. So it's just one of those things where staying patient. I didn't expect any major moves. The only other guy that I actually spoke about was Danilo Gallinari. And the update I heard last on him, it's basically between Boston and Chicago. It sounds like Chicago might be offering a little bit more money, but he wants to play for Boston. But I think we're just offering the $6.5 million. So I think it kind of comes down to one of those things. What's his priority? But it's kind of like, I thought, if you're being bought out, isn't he already getting, some of the money from the Spurs? So it's kind of like, why not go to a contender? I mean, either way, you can make an argument that the Bulls are out, but obviously the Celtics, that's where you wanted to go. It's a preferred destination, and that's a team that just went on a finals run. So we'll have to see there. So again, I mean, if by tomorrow comes and they signed Danilo and Bruce Brown, I mean, that's, again, they still have that $17 million TPE. I think it is very, very important that they use it. I mean, you're talking about 18 days from now, it expires, and I do not think they can allow that to happen. That is such a solid, they could either bring in two, multiple players to fit specific needs, or, a $17 million contracted player, that's a solid. Pull up, $17 million and see what kind of players are there. There's some badass guys there. So I really hope they're doing their due diligence. I'm sure they are, and I'm sure that they're making phone calls. But again, guys, I'm not going to go into a bunch of, targets and deep dives like I did yesterday, because it's just one of those things, like, you never really know. You know what I mean? They could end up signing several guys that none of us have mentioned or discussed, or, someone that comes out of left field in the 11th hour. So again, who knows? But a lot going on in the first day, a lot of excitement, but again, pretty slow on the Boston Celtics front. But why are we here? Because, I mean, not even hours after I post that video about Jaylen Brown, obviously it was more so about Jaylen and the fact that because Kyrie, was looking to be traded, and then there was rumors of KD last week and all the Jaylen Brown disrespect and scowl and all that bullshit that got, I mean, I went over the timeline yesterday, but because Kyrie opted back in, I thought that was pretty much a clear sign that, okay, Kyrie's going to stay. They're going to just run it back this next season and, get healthy with Ben Simmons and see what happens, No. As you all see, Kevin Durant has officially requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets, and that is insane. That is as big of a deal in the NBA as it gets, because you're talking about a top 2-3. I mean, he is one of the greatest of all time, a Hall of Famer. I mean, it's Kevin Durant.
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Yeah. I know who I am.
12-time All-Star, multiple two-time champion, MVP, multiple-time Finals MVP, 10-time All-NBA, multiple-time scoring champion, a gold medalist. I mean, he is as spectacular as they get. He just came off of a season of averaging nearly 30 points, 7.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists. He's had multiple seasons he's scored over 30 points, multiple seasons he's averaged over 8 rebounds, multiple seasons he's averaged nearly 6 or more assists, and he's obviously no slouch on the defensive end. I mean, member of the NBA 75th team. I mean, they don't get much better than Kevin Durant. And my argument yesterday was simply based on him being 34 years old, and the fact that Jaylen Brown, 25, just turning 25 this past year and just scratching the surface of his prime, multiple ECF runs, a finals run, for everything I actually, explained yesterday in the video. If you haven't checked it out, the video is doing very well. A lot of activity in the comment section. I really appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for all the help. Every time y'all are engaged like that, man, as you can see, we've got 20 new subscribers. So shout out to all of you. And because y'all are that active, that helps me more than you all could ever know. So how I'm always, how much it means to me. So again, to all the new subscribers, I promise you I'll continue to work my ass off and get better with each video for you all. Thank you. Anyways, so I did get challenged though, and it was a fair challenge. It was, you need to basically, devil's advocate, go on the other side of it. Simply the comment was along the lines of, everyone that disagrees with Scal is a casual. Like, I'm a casual for not seeing that they should do this trade for Kevin Durant. And he basically was like, it's like, do the trade and then say the rotation. Okay, fair enough. So as I showed at that beginning, the trade, again, would not just be Jaylen for KD. One makes over 40 million, the other makes 25. So it would be Jaylen and probably Grant and Tice, and then multiple first, which, by the way, Bobby pointed out the first is interesting because Brooklyn owes their picks to Houston. So it's kind of, but, and then, so several players just to make the contracts balance out. So we do the trade. We lose Tice, Jaylen, and Williams. We get back, let's say, KD. And if I'm Boston and I'm doing this trade, I'm trying to get Patty as well to fit into the TPE, or someone to fit into the TPE. So then you're looking at what's the rotation? You got one of two options. You would probably Smart, Derek White, Tatum, Durant, Rob. Or you would have Smart, Tatum, Durant, Al, Rob. And either way, you would essentially have, either Al Horford coming off the bench or Derek White coming off the bench in a 6-man role. And that would pretty much be the 6-man rotation you'd be looking at. If you get Patty, that would be your 7th. You still got Peyton Pritchard. I mean, and then, of course, you still have the potential to sign So I get it. Does a team of Smart, White, Tatum, Durant, Rob, and Horford compete for a championship? Of course it does. If everything goes right, I'm not a fool and I'm not being naive to the fact that, of course, that does. When a player like Kevin Durant, a top 2 or 3 player in the entire world, changes teams, it shifts the power in the landscape of the NBA totally. So for next season, maybe even the season after that, of course, it puts us right up there as far as favorites. However, when you look at the future first, you're giving away. DeJounte Murray just went for 3 firsts and a pick swap. What do you think they're going to expect for KD? So you're giving away all the picks that you have, the swaps, everything is gone when it comes to that. So the future is not being built through the draft. So your future is being built through a guy that's turning 35. He does have 4 more years on his contract, which is appealing, but at the same time, is it? Because he's going to be, 38 by the end of it? And he has a history of some serious major injuries, and it wasn't that long ago. So that's the concern. It's the fact that, in several years, at the end of that contract, 4 years, KD might not be in the league anymore. And if he is, he's retiring at 38. Whereas Jalen will still just be getting into his prime. He will be in the smack dab middle of it. It'll be 28, 29. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And the fact that we're just in the finals, game 6, we swept Kevin Durant and his Nets. Now, again, as much pressure as he received in that opening series, he still damn near averaged almost 27, 6 and 6. So commendable. And he shot like shit and had everything in the book thrown at him. So a bad series from him still is 27, 6 and 6. But still, why am I going to blow up a team that just beat the team that him and Kyrie Irving, another top 15 player in the world, a champion, a gold medalist? Isn't it surreal that they are about to lose KD and Kyrie, and they had KD, Kyrie, and Harden the past 2 seasons, and now they don't have shit to show for it, and they're about to lose all of them and just be left with Ben Simmons. Some other potential teams, I'm hearing basically Miami and Phoenix are the other big 2. For me, as a Celtics fan, perfect scenario is to ship his ass back to the West where he belongs. Golden State and OKC is the majority of his career. Send him back out to the West, because Phoenix, and again, I don't know, because I feel like I've heard conflicting things. I've heard Ayton can be a part of it, then I've heard he can't be. So Phoenix with Ayton, I've heard obviously the Nets are going to ask for Brooklyn, they're going to ask for Booker. And to me, that's the same as asking for Jaylen Brown. So if I'm the Suns, but of course, if I'm the Nets, I'm asking. But Ayton, Bridges, Cam Johnson, Crowder, they've got, is Payne still there as well? They've got some decent players. So, I'm sure that they can make it work with a bunch of picks. And then you're looking at, especially if they keep Booker, a CP3 Booker and KD, or just CP3 and KD. Woo. But then obviously Miami's another big one that you're hearing about. And that scares the shit out of me. It really does, because they have players that make a decent amount of money that they could easily, be happy moving on from. And they have a guy like Tyler Hero that could be like, one of the major chips of that package. So Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Kyle Lowry, then they got like the Gabe Vincents, Max Strus, they've got some potential pieces to move. Robinson damn near makes 17, 18. That's a good piece of it right there. Lowry, he's $30 million player. I'm not sure what Hero makes, but you see where I'm kind of going with that. I think Miami could make a very competitive offer, and that, like I said, it scares me, because I imagine they're not getting rid of Bam, obviously not Jimmy. So you're looking at a KD, Jimmy Butler, and Bam team. And again, Miami's one of those things, even if they lost Robinson, Hero, etc. If they can keep Kyle Lowry and, just one other, that's a hell of a roster. And especially Miami, everyone, all the buyout people are going there. So that's the one place that really does scare the shit out of me, because, they've got guys that, like I said, Duncan Robinson, that they really would gladly move on. And he almost makes up half of the contract salary that they need. So we'll have to see. At this point, it's all speculation. If the Celtics were to make a trade for Kevin Durant involving Jaylen Brown, I would fall out of my damn chair. It would shock the shit out of me. But again, it would basically show me that all chips are in. They're trying to win now. I mean, the only good things of it is the pros of it. They have them in for the next 4 years. It makes you an instant contender. If healthy, I think you win a championship. You're favored, at least coming out of the East. And if KD was in the finals for us against Golden State, I mean, just you can start to let your mind wander. And especially if you're losing Jalen and the only real rotation piece is Grant, that is a loss. But then Tice, who's the backup big. But again, I'm not doing the trade for all the reasons I said in yesterday's video. I hope that he goes back out west. That is best case scenario for me, but I did think it was fair to at least play devil's advocate and give the pros for the people that do want to see the trade and agree with Scalabrine. But again, guys, smack dab in the middle of NBA free agency, day 2. I don't want to go into too much more because me and Bobby will be doing a I'm not sure if it's going to be live or a call-in show, but we're going to be doing something later on today where we kind of go over everything that's happening in free agency. Hopefully, like, the Celtics will have done something so we can really talk, because otherwise we'll be, going in a little bit more on the KD and all the max signings and just kind of some of the movement around the league. But again, I appreciate everyone that's been tuning in. I appreciate all the new subscribers. We're literally knocking on the door of 500. So thank you. I'm honored and humbled. Anything big that happens, I'm off the next 2 days. I'll be dropping something immediately, but definitely make sure you tune in this evening. I'm not sure the specific time yet with Celtics Corner and Bobby, but just keep an eye out for that. But again, Jags to Riches, James Peters, thank you all so much for your time. Have an excellent conclusion to your day, guys. Take care.